curious, son. Do you believe in conspiracies? Do you believe some shit is going on? Do you think there's a chance that cats could hijack 4 planes in one day? I'm not saying period. Anywhere in the world, much less in America. I don't think they could pull it off in Jamaica. So, like, something is really weird about that to me, like, personally.
There's no surprises under the sun. Nothing new is under the sun. Only the numb are surprised, I suppose.
But
what is New York? You know what I mean? Like, what is it?
It's like...
It's a concept.
It's like the incarnation of everything that has happened before. It's just back again.
Is it real?
So if you saw like if you look at New York and look at Rome, it's like a similar, You ever feel like somebody's watching you? Like when I was in school, I remember being in school and like coming home and my gas was on. It might sound scary, like weird, like my door was open and crazy shit like that, like all the time, like 4 or 5 times. And we was like into some student activism, like crazy poetry, like vibe, and we get scared like, this helicopter don't seem natural.
They burned my book before I was born. 3 pale-faced men in electric eel suits and Pentagon shoes sent by J. Edgar Hoover came and knocking at my mother's door. Not selling vacuums. Can we come in, ma'am? We won't take you long. We have a couple questions for you. My mother put the coffee on. The suits took a seat on the sofa in the living room. Everything was 70s green. A radio hummed in the kitchen. Detergent commercial. Then something scary about Vietnam, followed by a Marvin Gaye song, and everything was fine again. The noise of the radio tiptoed into the living room. Mother followed, smiling, looking like Jackie O. Do you take sugar, boys? She asked. Plain black, they said. They shook their heads at the same time, like 3 mockingbirds on the same power line. Now for the reason we're here, began the eel on the left, and that was the way it went. Only a few words or half thought before the conversation switched and the voice passed on down the couch to the Tin Man mouth of the next Fed, so that it sounded like an amateur actors group. No director, no plot, and the most amazing thing, the most hilarious thing. Through inside sources, switch, about certain details, switch, regarding the present status, switch, of your womb, switch, and your fallopian tube, switch, and the remainder, switch, of your secondary reproductive apparatus. My mother smiled. He told me you'd come. They tried to ignore the voice in my belly, but he told me you'd come. The eels didn't smile. Mother's face moved again. He told me how you'd be dressed, how you'd smell like government shaving cream and chalk, how you'd move, how you'd sit, how you'd sound like paper shredding machines when you talked. And my mother moved away from the sofa toward a small fish tank that no one had noticed in the corner. She paused for a moment and then sunk her hand into the water, and it became not water. Breast milk filled the glass of the cheap aquarium. The airs of the eels felt the renaissance, the sound in the room like 10,000 young women singing. My mother lifted her fingers from the liquid. There was a book in her hand. She held it there, dripping white life on the carpet for a moment, and then walked back to the sofa. My mother stood over the eels like a bedtime storyteller. Like an angel began to read, with a soft, honest voice like a child's tambourine. Gentlemen, who wound up the key in the back of your neck? Who wrote your script? What was the name of the puppeteer, the one that carved your features and shaped your jaw to set the hinge? Mother closed the book and handed it to the feds. Burn it if you must, but read it first. He says. She said. She showed them to the door. Watched them move like appliances down the sidewalk. Watched them load like dirty laundry into the Ford, and mothers followed the vehicle along the avenue until it was all the way gone. She touched her belly, lines were cut. No one on the other end. The moisture came into the corner of her eye. The front door closed slow. Aretha Franklin was singing somewhere in the kitchen. The radio was still on. My mother followed the voice of Aretha like a sleepwalker and left the scent of my placenta on the doorknob.
This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt like a power outage during your abortion. This is gonna hurt like the 666 is now the American flag. This is gonna hurt like Adolf Hitler came back as CNN, but now the Muslims are the Jews. This is gonna hurt like the Holocaust was an independent film. Slavery was a blockbuster, made billions to motherfuckers. This shit is gonna hurt like the wolf ain't coming in sheep's clothing. The wolf is coming as a chain store, selling FUBU on UPN with a bucket of popcorn chicken, a cross and a crack pipe doing an infomercial on how to spread AIDS in Africa. This is gonna hurt like pulling a bowling ball backwards to your dick. Hurt like a urinary tract infection in your tear ducts. Don't cry, motherfucker. This is gonna hurt like a blowjob from your sister and your mom's coaching. This is gonna hurt like the scent of your ancestors' blood caked onto the psyche of white America. Hurt like the memories locked up in broken bones, like the steel gun of starvation, like the blood-covered face in the window of colonialism. This is gonna hurt like a fuck you note to the third world. Hurt like a 14-year-old girl giving birth to her brother. This is gonna hurt like the metal in your ankh was mined by oppressed Africans. Hurt like there's more racism and apartheid in your engagement diamond than in all of South Africa. This is gonna hurt like a tight pair of Nikes, 2 sizes too small, crafted from the skull of a Chinese sweatshop worker. This is gonna hurt like the World Bank, like the IMF, like the Center for Disease Control. This is gonna hurt like free Bibles for enslaved peoples. Hurt like Reagan was playing president. It's gonna hurt like George W. That motherfucker is also playing president. It's gonna hurt like the connection between the opium trade and the World Trade Center. Hurt like genocide in our music. Hurt like being double-crossed and framed by hip-hop. Hurt like Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Algeria, Panama, Palestine, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Liberia, Lebanon. It's gonna hurt like being double-crossed and framed by the CIA. This is gonna hurt like Osama bin Laden lives in New Jersey. Hurt like Osama bin Laden was killed in 1997. This is gonna hurt like 9/11. Fuck 9/11. This is gonna hurt like 1492, like 1555, like 1619, like 1776, like 1865. This is gonna hurt like 3/5. Hurt like Japanese concentration camps on American soil. Hurt like Tuskegee experiments, like smallpox, like reservations, like the word Indian. It's gonna hurt like the same bullet that killed Medgar, Malcolm, Kennedy, and King was fired from the same vocal cords. It's gonna hurt like a nigga late for his own lynching. It's gonna hurt bad. It's gonna hurt good. It's gonna hurt ugly and beautiful. But most of all, it's gonna hurt simply because that's how karma works. America.
I taste the Vietnam. I taste the rosemary. I taste the hold, as quiet as breathing. Reaching out to all the bitter edges of the Commonwealth, I taste the coriander. I taste the labia of war. I see a man in a birdcage. I see a long equation, but I have no idea what it is or how to begin. I see the ghost of everything Soviet, living without living in between the spaces of the world around.
2/7 of a giraffe's soul, fused with the breeding patterns of sperm whales. Oil spills 3 mental asylums, the spinal cord of a miniature half-horse bent to an exact angle. Syringes filled with poverty, dictators and broken emptiness injected into the minds of third-world children, perspiring poison spoons, eating Jesus out of the pores of the H-bomb, HBO, selling tickets to their lynching.
I see a woman with her throat cut, dead these 10 days with 10 fingers of her own. I see this pageant played over and over with only the costumes being updated, only the props and the backdrop changing as time goes on. I see Los Angeles, she's wrapped up in a blanket of heartache, and it seems that she is wasting away, although sometimes the wasting away can feel warm and so good, and I think I love her, though I've never known her. I see a bird with a gas mask over its head. I see all the president's men. I see whatever God is dying without a proper witness in a bad, bad baptism of oil and gasoline. I see a world still reeling. I see a world never not reeling.
Language within language. Torture machines by tortured men. 5 diluted tongues of experimental blame. Paper God, paper money, paper people got us believing in ink. How much is a dollar worth in gold or diamonds? How much is it worth in mothers or children? Translate that to apples. Exactly. Eventually, apple trees die.
I hear them coming. I hear the lost and lonely cries of a monkey in space. 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 Monkey in space.
Turned his arms into sickles, into needles, into never horses dancing with angels in his teeth, melting like babies on an olive branch, holding their noses, like vampire spiders spinning webs of glass. Brush mark, mantis, black ants crawling on the torso of these see-through women inside inkwells, in the roots of trees jumping out of bottles. This is the dance. This is where worlds merge. This is where we crossbreed like logical chaos. This is normal man in dream sleep, in sleep. Which brings up the question of Ayatollah, Amin, Ho Chi Minh, bus boys in the basement of the Pentagon, serving the poor to the greedy. In the basement of a Pentagon, where they have developed new shapes and new sounds. Sounds that control dogs and gods. Sounds that exist in other dimensions. Sounds invented in whole entire race of imaginary people. People so imaginary and invisible, they won't exist for another 4,000 years.
I'm a vertebrae. You're a vertebrae too. We can see down the line.
Yep.
Fresh water will be the new currency. And there will be no stock market other than skinny livestock, or perhaps whatever stock you might still hold in that cheap belief that America would last forever. And every day, every paper, every headline will spell out the same thing. Don't turn on the sink. Don't turn the faucets on the sink. Don't turn the faucets on the sink. Don't turn on the sink. Don't turn the faucets on the sink, but you will hear no paper make any mention of the fact that because of its very nature, every empire is destined to sink.
They've been sifting deliriously through the dreams of the collective idiot. Cold blue, funeral beautiful military service men with their pressed on face smiles, patches of flesh symbols, bleeding machine guns, painted on the scribbled faces of the lonely bombed out children, singing, holding hands, standing naked in a deep red furrowed field sky filled with aeroplanes and parachutes, and in the distance, a small white farmhouse filled with pigs with strings attached, raining a toothless drum stumble like a blood-folded century in a small, tiny music box. Hitler, dressed as a napkin, stained with grapes, prima ballerina style dance in a soft blue hoop, a philosophical dimple of military acoustics, an assembly line of blindfolded politicians, puppets, and trolls with their nice, shiny Harvard brain implants.
I've seen their hydrogen bomb hiding in the tall grass and crying like a baby in the shadows behind the airplane hangar where she's lived since she was born. How could they shape me this way and put what they put inside of me? She's asking this of the setting sun, somehow knowing them to be one, these two, made of fire and whatever else. A puddle of urine all but absorbed by the soil underneath her body. How could they shape me this way and put what they put inside of me?
We have never had to French kiss machine guns. We have never courted crack pipes or carried decaying corpses on our backs. We have never felt the sticky, nauseating flesh of genocide under our fingernails eating holes to our children. We have never had to crawl through phlegm and vomit and urine through trembling streets sardined with landmines manufactured in middle America. We have never had to saw off limbs with rusted knives. Never eaten collapsed buildings until our lips were numb and blue. We have never had to look to the side silently while our people are being marched to their death in the bleeding cold, into refugee camps, into wars, sponsored by casket makers and funeral homes.
The newspaper man, he broke his back on the stairs, and he couldn't reach the phone and the ambulance. It never came, no lights and no sirens, and isn't that a shame? There's a young engineer at the front of the train. He thinks the window keeps him safe from the wind and the rain, but in his headlights he sees the missionaries by the track side with their obituaries. And oh, and will they get you to change? And the hospital's filled with the people's disease, and we've run out of pills, but the secret police are in the midnight by the river bank with their flashlights. They looking for the man they think helped to develop the strain.
My story will be told. My story will be told in an ancient Chinese tongue, some hybrid Morse code mummy language, tap dancing my shadows in technicolor, slapping fives with light to catch the echoes of harsh realities, scribbling Nat Turner's name in calligraphy on the backs of city roaches. My shadows come in the form of wide-hipped Zulu women who cornrow hieroglyphics in their pubic hairs, challenging God to immaculate conception matches, bearing messiahs in ink blotches, tattooing the names of African elephants on the armpits of Shaolin monks, meditating to lava lamps. So tell me, have you seen my shadows?
We have been always base peasants in this new time of machines, her and me. Our knuckles pink and raw from the assembly line. Our lungs no longer lungs breathing the industry. And eyes no longer eyes believing the holy television. But then came the change. Early August. As if this had been her first words, or perhaps her final hospital bed wish, my little girl, old woman, whispered, "Can we please lie out in the garden and make believe it's the whole world?" I agreed, and it was. Immediately I was the Duke of this, and she was the Duchess of that, both of us royal and sweating summer through no longer clogged factory pores, in this green and outdoor fresh air ballroom. No chandeliers, no chandeliers, no brass band, no chandeliers, no brass band. In fact, we had nothing on except a dusty phonograph.
Sometimes I look at her and she's simple. At other times I look at her and she's simply beautiful.
I feel like a farm boy lost in Paris. It's my first time feeling ceiling fans, unaware of the Greeks and their contraband.
America, what have we done to the white-haired woman and the blue buffalo she rode? What have we done to their drums and the bones of their children? What have we done to the trinkets they were traded for?
All these words, past all these words, this garden grows the way it will. We are not the gardeners. We could never fit into those rubber boots.
We're all taught to trust the blue light by the sofa and let the road
I suppose it's about freedom.
over and over again.